Hello and welcome back to the top tiers. Today I'm going to be looking at and ranking all of the pre-hard mode bosses from Terraria, and I'm ranking them based on difficulty. So, in my personal opinion, how hard is each boss? And let's get started off. And I have the Eater of Worlds in last place as the least difficult because I personally feel that the Eater of Worlds is an extremely easy boss. Now, I haven't played Master Mode yet, so I don't know what it's like in that. But even in Expert Mode, all you need is some Holy Arrows and maybe a Platinum Bow, and you're set. You could kill it easily. Just a few buff potions, some Holy Arrows, and a Platinum Bow. You don't even need like full decent armor. I beat this thing with lead armor on Expert Mode, and it's just a really easy boss. And it's really basic. And next up is the King Slime. The King Slime is commonly known as the easiest boss in the game, and I put it after the Eater of Worlds only because in expert mode the amount of slimes he spawns can get overwhelming to the point where you could die to one of his slime minions that he spawns in, not even the King Slime himself. It's just an overwhelming boss fight without how many things you have to keep track of. And if it's occurring during a slime rain, there's even more things coming out. So there's more things you have to worry about and more things you have to keep track of. Next up is the Eye of Cthulhu. The Eye of Cthulhu is a pretty basic boss, one of the first bosses people fight in the game. And it has two stages that you can see on screen now. There's the stage where it's an eyeball and the stage where it's a mouth. And in the stage where it's an eyeball, it spawns in a bunch of little minions that are relatively weak, but they can get overwhelming if you let them spawn too many. And once he transforms in expert mode, he has an extra attack where once he gets low health, he starts dashing really quickly about. And when he transforms in expert mode, about 10 or so minions of Cthulhu or servants of Cthulhu spawn in. So they all shoot out from different directions, and you have to worry about them too. Next up is the Brain of Cthulhu. This is also a pretty simple boss. In its first phase, it's unhittable and it doesn't deal damage to you, but it has a bunch of little eyeballs that will fly about and deal damage to you. And once you kill all those eyeballs, it transforms and it opens up to reveal a heart with an eye on it and a mouth. In that form, it can attack you, and in expert mode, it'll begin to morph the screen, so more versions of it will appear on the screen, and it'll kind of get confusing. If you lose track of which one is the real Brain of Cthulhu, you could die there. Next up is Skeletron. Skeletron is a very simple boss. He has two arms and a head. And when you each arm and the head has its own health bar, and you need to destroy the head to kill the boss itself. It does very high damage, and in expert mode where it spins, it does that in any mode. I forgot about that. Sorry guys. When it spins in any mode, it does very high damage, and it can hit stun you where you wouldn't be able to escape it and just deal damage after damage after damage. In expert mode, it shoots out skulls out of its mouth that can basically home in on you and deal a large amount of damage. You have to be able to outmaneuver those. The Shield of Cthulhu, which is the expert mode drop from Eye of Cthulhu, is recommended for that. If you take out both hands, the skull moves faster, so that's also to note. But next up is the Queen Bee. Queen Bee, I put higher than Skeletron just because of how much more of a interesting fight it is. You're fighting in a relatively small area, the beehive, and she dashes back and forth, dealing high damage each time she makes contact. And eventually, after a few dashes, she hovers above you and shoots at you with a bunch of bees that come out of her tail. Those bees deal poison. Those bees themselves deal pretty high damage and can swarm you easily, overwhelm you quickly. And she also shoots out poisonous stingers that will inflict the poison debuff, making it very hard to regain health because even if you drink a potion, you're going to continue having that effect that'll drain your health. So I recommend having the nurse around. If you build a house for the nurse in the jungle, I recommend having her down there with you to help heal up and remove that debuff during the fight. And finally is the Wall of Flesh. The Wall of Flesh is the boss you need to kill in order to start hard mode. The Wall of Flesh consists of a large wall made of flesh and two eyes and a mouth. The wall of flesh moves along either left or right the side of the underworld, and if you try to escape it by going behind it, it'll suck you back into the area where you fight. If you teleport away using a magic mirror or recall potions, you'll die immediately. And if you if you try I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. You can spawn in other enemies such as leeches, which are little worm things, and it has a bunch of tentacles with weird mouth things attached to it. So those tentacles can take up hit damage that is meant to go towards attacking the wall itself to kill it. Also, since it is fighting in the underworld, you have to spend the time to build a bridge across all the lava so that you won't fall in the lava and die. And if you build that bridge out of platforms, you may accidentally go through the platform and die, which is another threat you have to face is the lava and the other enemies from the underworld that are there with you. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you here on the top tiers.